What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Mad Max Fury Road. Rashad G Reviews is back once again, back to back, another Rashad G review collab here on the channel. A big thanks to him for being here in this video. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and get into my thoughts on Mad Max Fury Road, the return of Mad Max after quite some time, written and directed by George Miller, and man, this is just a movie. I saw this movie about 3 or 4 times in theaters and was completely in love with it each and every time. Since then, I've seen it in the black and white Blu-ray version that they released, as well as just on Blu-ray in general here and there. This is a movie that I thoroughly enjoy each and every time that I've checked it out, and it's just a really fun action adventure movie and probably one of the best chase movies of all time. That's pretty much what this movie is. It's a chase movie involving Mad Max and a bunch of characters that get involved, and they're on the road for the majority of the time in the vast, just endless desert. And yeah, if you guys are familiar with Mad Max, you know that it's this really over-the-top, fantastical, post-apocalyptic world. And I think personally for me, even though I have a lot of love for a lot of the older ones, I think that this one was able to realize that world to the fullest of its potential, just because of where we are today with, you know, cinematography and visual effects, both practical and digital. I think that this movie was just top notch, and what they were able to capture on screen with the practical effects and the stunts was just top notch. And another thing too, if you're familiar with the making of this film, you know that this movie took quite some time to make and also had tons of technical issues that happened throughout the course of the film, whether it was weather issues or just issues they had on location or issues with certain stunts. And yeah, this movie was a nightmare for them to make. George Miller spent a lot of time putting this movie together, and in a lot of other cases this probably would have turned out to be a pretty terrible movie, but thankfully it turned out to be a really great movie. And it just goes to show that when you have a director and a writer that has a very specific vision, that even some of the biggest hardships that can come in the filmmaking process lead to a really, really great movie when you have somebody behind the helm who knows what they want. And this movie definitely shows that that is capable. Yeah, right out of the gate, this movie is fantastically well acted. You have Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron, Nicholas Hoult, and I should also mention that the actor who played Immortan Joe in this film just actually recently passed away, unfortunately. I actually don't know how to pronounce the last part of his name. His name is Hoult keays-Byrne or Byrne. I'm not too sure how to pronounce his last name. If you know, feel free to correct me down below in the description or in the comments, I mean. But yeah, I love this movie. I think this is easily one of the greatest masterpieces of action and adventure films in the last decade. I think when you think back on big, great action films that work on a performance level as well as the stunts and the visual effects and just is an epic movie, this movie does that so well. And also, I think at this point, I think I've talked about it on this channel quite a few times, but I'm a big rock and roll and heavy metal fan, so for me, this movie is 100% fucking metal. Like, for a movie to just be this metal in every way, from the imagery to the score to just so much about it, this movie is just so metal. And Mad Max has always been very metal as far as the imagery and just the kind of the feel and vibe. But yeah, this movie just definitely doubles down on that. There's literally a part where this blind dude is playing guitar and he's just swinging on this like vehicle, and man, this movie is just completely bonkers. It's completely over the top, and it's a movie that I guess won't work for some, but for the most part, I think if you're a film fan, even if you're not into fantasy and over-the-top post-apocalyptic movies, there's no way that you can watch this movie and not be able to praise the top-notch performances and special effects, both digital and practical, as well as the fantastic stunts that they got on camera. I mean, this movie, as just on a stunt level alone, and the practical effects and all the explosions and everything is just so good. The fire, everything about the way that this film was shot and all the effects that they were actually able to capture on screen, the film just feels so tangible. And when there are digital effects blended in, it does exactly that. It's blended in. It's so seamless, and I just thoroughly enjoy this movie on almost every level. The cinematography, the performances, the action, the special effects. This is a movie that I genuinely almost have no gripes with, and if I do, they're very minor. This film is kind of the pinnacle of bringing that world to life. Now, before I continue my thoughts on this, let's go ahead and hear what my buddy Rashad had to say about this.
Perez, what's the deal? Pickles is everything kosher. So once again, our tit for tat saga continues, and this time, My man, you came through. Christmas came early for me. When you pick these movies out for me, I cringe because I'm like, damn, what's he going to pick out next for me? You gave me one of the best action movies of all time to cover. And bro, if you're going to talk about this movie the way I think you're going to talk about it, I know you're going to need a whole lot of time. So I'm not going to take much more of your time. I'm going to try not to be long-winded here. Here we go. Mad Max Fury Road. This made my list of one of the best movies of the 2010s. I can't remember exactly what number. I know it was in the top 5. I love this movie. And as nostalgic as I am, as much as I love my throwbacks, and I'm always biased to where I say nothing can replace the OG, nothing can, like these reboots and remakes and all that stuff, nothing can replace the originals. But the exception is this. So I grew up on the old Mad Max movie starring Mel Gibson. You know, you had Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Loved 2 of those. All right, I really did like the first Mad Max. It's a little low budget exploitation, but I really love to watch the first Mad Max. And The Road Warrior is definitely the shit. I didn't think that they could top The Road Warrior, and George Miller is back in the director's chair. And he wrote the movies. Well, I think he wrote all 3 of them. And did he knock it out the park with this one? And the thing about these older directors like Scorsese and Spielberg and Coppola and all these guys, after a while, you start to see their age in their products because they start to put out some lame shit. Like, for example, The Irishman with Scorsese last year. I don't care what nobody says, it was trash, all right? But he's still my favorite director. George Miller, not only did he not lose a step, but I think he's been taking some TRT or some steroids or something because he's as sharp as ever. Like, he took the Mad Max franchise to the next level. The Road Warrior was like his masterpiece. Fast forward now 2015, Fury Road is now his masterpiece. He killed it in this movie. The direction, the art direction, the effects, very little CG. A lot of shit was practical. Just, you know, the acting, the chase sequences, the intensity of it, the pacing. This is a perfect action movie. This is an action movies lover's wet dream, all right? If you love action movies, you're going to be nerdgasming all over yourself, okay? That's how ill this movie is. I watched it today. Me and my daughter watched it together. And my daughter, she's weird herself because she said the movie was really weird. But at the same time, she's into this Korean punk, not punk band, like this Korean techno band or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they are. I know they're Koreans. And that's nothing against Koreans. But I'm like, how you talking about my movie's weird and you listen to music? These motherfuckers don't even speak English. Fuck out of here. But yeah, she checked out. But I'm watching this. I'm on my projector and I said, this is the illest, one of the illest movies ever. You know, Tom Hardy, even though he plays Max, you know, the elephant in the room here, who played Max better, Tom Hardy or Mel Gibson? And I'm gonna be biased and say Mel because I think Mel really owned that role. But if you talk about what the character's supposed to be, he's Mad Max. He's supposed to be crazy. I think Tom Hardy captured the crazy more than Mel Gibson did, because you really didn't. You saw Mel Gibson have a moment in the first movie where he was kind of losing it because his family got killed. Spoilers. But in The Road Warrior, you never saw that mad side of him. Like, he was quiet. He was that quiet gunslinger type. You know what I'm saying? The strong, silent type, as Tony Soprano says. But you never really saw that madness. And I think Tom Hardy really captured the madness. And so it's close. I mean, it's not by a landslide. I think it really is close. And the clear standout is Charlize Theron. I know I'll be saying her name wrong, as Furiosa. This is pretty much her movie. Some people said that this should have been called Furiosa or Fury Road and not Mad Max because, you know, it's really about her. And she does take a big chunk of it, but this is still Mad Max's movie. Tom Hardy, I thought, held his own in the action sequences and the fact that he didn't have to say a whole lot. And the villain, was it Immortan Joe or Immortal Joe? I'm saying that wrong probably. But yeah, quick trivia. Many of you may know this already. He played the toe cutter in the first Mad Max movie. Okay, he was the villain there. And I thought he was a really good villain here. So y'all, wrapping this up, because I know Perez wants to really get into this. I love Fury Road. This is, I can't say it enough, man. One of the best action movies ever made. The best Mad Max movie ever. Okay, if I rate them right now real quick, it's Fury Road #1, The Road Warrior, Mad Max, then Beyond Thunderdome. And I think I'll save Beyond Thunderdome for another time because I really need to talk about that one. So Perez, thank you for having me in this video, man. Thank you for picking this movie out for me. I had a really good time watching it. So I'm gonna give the floor back to you. Oh yeah, by the way, Mad Max Fury Road gets an A fucking plus. I wanted to add an effect in there with that, like Jeremy Johns, but I don't want to be biting and shit. But yeah, A+ for Mad Max Fury Road. So Perez, the floor is yours, man. What else you got to say about this?
A big thanks once again to my buddy Rashad G Reviews for being here in this video. Loved hearing your thoughts on this movie, man, and I'm glad that you're a huge fan of this movie as well. It is unfortunate to hear that your daughter wasn't so crazy into it, but I would say that though I think this movie is for everybody, I think that, you know, it definitely leans a little bit more on the over-the-top, wacky, machismo kind of side of films, and I can see some young ladies maybe not being so into the craziness, you know, with everything with a Morton Joe and all his people. There is a side to this movie that is definitely a little bit more machismo, macho man kind of leaning, but I think this is a movie for everybody. And yeah, this is just a movie that is damn near perfect. Now, I said that I have minor gripes with it, and my minor gripes would be that there are a couple moments in the film that feel a little bit slow and kind of feel like the pacing was trying to slow down to kind of give us a breather, but it kind of sometimes felt out of place to me. But that is a very minor gripe, because even those scenes I really do thoroughly enjoy. I think the movie just has that perfect blend of very grounded performances as well, and having very wacky over-the-top performances inside of this very wacky over-the-top world. But again, I think George Miller was able to really bring this world to life in the best way I think it's ever been brought to life. I also think that this movie does a fantastic job of being able to be a first kind of exploration of this world for so many people. I think if you watch this movie for the first time, this is your first Mad Max movie, you get exactly what this movie is right out of the gate. It doesn't take you long to fully understand this world. Obviously, you won't have the other films to have a little bit more context and kind of see more of the world, but I think that this movie does a great job of reintroducing the universe to fans who are already longtime fans, but also people who are new fans to the franchise. I think that this movie is easily one of the best action-adventure films of the last 10 years, and is a movie I will continue to praise until the day I die. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this very praise-heavy fest of a review, and I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comments. So please, what are your thoughts on this movie? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? And if you don't like this movie, I'm definitely curious. What is it about this movie that maybe doesn't work for you? And what is your favorite Mad Max movie? So yeah, guys, that's going to be our thoughts on this movie. As usual, you can find the link to Rashad G Reviews channel down below in the description box. Go give him some love. He's got great content going on over there. Everything from movies to TV to real life stuff going on to politics. The dude's got a great library of content, and I highly recommend you guys go check out his stuff. He always gives me a laugh too. I think he's an absolutely hilarious YouTuber. So again, a big thanks to you guys for watching. Hit that like button, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.